The colony of New Haven was more than just another human settlement. It was a statement, a declaration that humanity would not be confined to its birthplace. It stood as a beacon of progress, nestled on the edge of known space, a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. Scientists, engineers, and pioneers worked tirelessly to shape this world into a home. Children laughed in artificial parks beneath the protective domes, while traders and diplomats prepared for the day humanity would extend its hand in friendship to the stars. New Haven was a dream made real, until the shadows came. In the silent watchtower of the Deep Space Monitoring Station Sentinel-12, Captain Elias Voss observed the void. A decorated officer of the United Earth Fleet, he had spent decades guarding the fragile hopes of humanity's expansion. His station was a quiet one, meant for early warnings rather than war, but he knew better than to trust the silence. He had seen too much, fought too many battles. If history had taught him one thing, it was this: the universe was never truly empty, and peace was never permanent. The first anomaly appeared on long-range sensors, a flickering distortion, like a wound in the fabric of space. Then another, and another. Unidentified vessels loomed just beyond scanning range, their outlines shifting like phantoms. "Try to hail them," Voss ordered, his voice a razor's edge of calm. No response. "Send standard identification protocols." Nothing. The fleet of shadows moved as one, slipping closer in absolute silence. Then, all at once, they ignited. New Haven's sky turned to fire. The first wave of Crixel warships tore through the colony's defenses with ruthless efficiency. Plasma lances burned through shielding, reducing buildings to molten slag. Defensive platforms shattered under kinetic bombardments. Civilians ran, but there was nowhere to go. Scientists huddled in research labs, their final discoveries left unfinished. Children clung to parents as the world around them crumbled. There were no demands, no ultimatums, no mercy. Voss watched from Sentinel-12, helpless as New Haven fell. He clenched his fists as the cold realization took hold. This was not an invasion. It was extermination. Distress signals poured into the UF command network, voices layered in terror and finality. "This is Governor Hale of New Haven. We are under attack. We need immediate evac." Static. "They're everywhere. For God's sake, someone answer." Silence. A final transmission flickered through, a lone officer, blood staining his uniform, whispering into the terminal. "They're killing everyone. No surrender, no prisoners. If you're hearing this, don't reason with them. Don't negotiate." A deep breath, a look of resignation. "Make them pay." Then nothing. New Haven was gone. Earth demanded justice. The Galactic Council responded with bureaucracy. The Crixel claimed this was an unfortunate misunderstanding, the representative droned. A tragic miscommunication. He let the weight of the moment settle before continuing. "The galaxy will learn what happens when humanity is pushed too far." Dr. Antonov leaned forward. "How long until we're ready?" Voss smiled. It wasn't a pleasant smile. "We already are." Narrator, the time for diplomacy had passed. The Crixel's attack on New Haven had left billions dead, and the Galactic Council had chosen inaction. Humanity would not. Scene opens in a classified UEF war room, deep within Earth's military complex. The mission is set. We strike fast, we strike hard, and we make them regret the day they crossed us. No more warnings, no more negotiations. The command table lights up, showing holograms of the Crixel homeworld and key military targets. Admiral Chent, Operation Iron Hand will commence in secrecy. We will deliver a message that goes across the stars. Cut to a massive orbital dockyard above Mars. Warships, the likes of which the galaxy had never seen, are preparing for departure. Narrator, the First Strike Fleet. Earth's deadliest armada, forged in the shadows of conflict. Designed not for defense, but for domination. Zoom in on the flagship Indomitable, a behemoth equipped with prototype stealth systems and planet-breaking weaponry. These ships carry rail cannons that can pierce continents and cloaking tech that makes them ghosts. The Crixel won't see us coming until it's too late. Weapons charge, reactors hum, and crews ready for war. Inside the bridge of Indomitable, Captain Elias Voss stands, staring at a hollow image of New Haven before its destruction. Narrator, Captain Voss had been chosen for a reason. He was not just a warrior, he was a man consumed by loss. Voss, the screen. I remember the voices on the distress call, the cries, the silence that followed. His fists clench. This isn't war. This is justice. We strike first and we strike last. The Crixel will never hurt us again. The Galactic Council convenes in a vast chamber, their voices raised in panic. We must stop this madness. If humanity retaliates, the balance of power will shatter. Earth's ambassador, calm and resolute, stands. Ambassador Hayes, the balance of power shifted the moment you let the Crixel butcher our people without consequence. Your warnings are meaningless. The Council murmurs in fear, but no action is taken. Dr. Mira Antonov, an expert in alien relations, pleads her case aboard Indomitable. Antonov, Captain, the Crixel are a warlike species, but they may not comprehend the magnitude of their actions. Perhaps there's another way. Voss glares at her. They understood well enough when they slaughtered civilians. This is not a debate, Doctor. This is war. Antonov's expression hardens. She knows she has lost this battle. Engines roar. The First Strike Fleet exits slipspace above the Crixel homeworld. And so humanity's vengeance took flight. In the silence of the void, war had already begun. All ships engage stealth, we strike at dawn. The fleet's sensors flickered, multiple Crixel scout vessels lurking at the system's edge. They were cautious, scanning for threats, but their technology was outdated, predictable. Humanity had evolved beyond such rudimentary tactics. Bring electronic warfare online, Voss commanded, his voice cold. Within seconds, the Crixel ships went dark. Communications scrambled, engines failed, targeting systems overloaded. An invisible grip strangled them from light years away. No energy weapons, no missiles, just silent, merciless control. A single message was transmitted, no warnings, no mercy. As the last scout vessel drifted lifelessly through the void, Voss turned away. We moved forward. They never saw us coming. The captured Crixel thrashed in its containment field, its mandibles clicking in defiance. It had been stripped of its armor, left vulnerable under the cold gaze of its captors. Dr. Antonov leaned in. Why did your people attack New Haven? What did we ever do to you? The Crixel chittered in amusement. Weaklings do not negotiate. They serve or die. Your kind was never meant to be a threat. Voss clenched his fists. The sheer arrogance. The dismissal of billions of lives as mere collateral. His rage burned deeper than before. They never even considered us worth fearing. He turned to the officers. Prepare the fleet. We burn their arrogance out of the stars. The First Strike Fleet drifted like shadows in the void. No signals, no emissions, silent phantoms slipping past Crixel sentries. Humanity's new stealth technology rendered them invisible to primitive detection systems. One by one, key supply routes were severed. Orbital shipyards collapsed in firestorms, their production lines gutted. Communication hubs flickered and died, leaving entire sectors blind. The Crixel homeworld remained oblivious until it was too late. The Crixel military scrambled in disarray, sending panicked distress signals. But there was no enemy to fight, no fleets to counter, only ghosts in the darkness, dismantling their empire piece by piece. We strike now. Voss slammed his fist on the war table. Total planetary assault. We leave nothing standing. Dr. Antonov shook her head. That would unite the entire galaxy against us. We need to force their surrender, not commit genocide. Tensions ran high. Some officers agreed with Antonov. Humanity needed to prove its strength, but not at the cost of becoming monsters. Others stood with Voss. There could be no peace with an enemy that saw them as nothing. The UEF High Command hesitated. The choice was brutal, final. The wrong decision could doom them all. Time was running out. The Crixel High Command received their first unfiltered reports. Supply chains obliterated, entire fleets gone silent, critical defenses compromised. Only then did they understand. Humanity wasn't a minor nuisance. It wasn't an inferior species. It was an apex predator. Desperation set in. The Crixel hastily sent diplomatic envoys, pleading for negotiations. They offered reparations, territory, anything to stop the slaughter. But the First Strike Fleet was already in position above Crixel Prime. Battleships blotted out the stars, their weapons primed. Voss stood on the command deck, eyes locked onto the trembling planet below. Too late. We're done talking. The void trembles as the UEF fleet emerges from hyperspace, a steel leviathan blotting out the stars above Crixel Prime. Their hulls gleam under the pale glow of the Crixel sun, weapons armed and shields shimmering with an unyielding presence. Panic spreads through the Crixel ranks. Alarm klaxons wail across the planet as defense stations scramble to respond. Fighters launch in desperate waves, but against the might of Earth's warships, they are nothing more than insects hurling themselves against a monsoon. The Crixel had always seen humans as inferior, unworthy of true concern. That illusion shatters the moment the first dreadnought fires. Titan-class railguns thunder, sending projectiles the size of city buses tearing through orbital stations like paper. Plasma lances carve across the sky, severing communications arrays and power grids in a coordinated strike. Humanity has not come for diplomacy. This is a reckoning. A cold voice echoes across the command decks of the UEF fleet. Initiate Project Revenant. From the heart of the flagship Nemesis, Earth's secret weapon awakens. Revenant AI, an autonomous warfare system designed to wage war without hesitation or remorse, descends upon Crixel Prime. Orbital platforms hum as kinetic bombardments rain down like judgment from the heavens. Automated drones sweep through the Crixel defense network, exploiting weaknesses faster than any organic mind could comprehend. Citywide energy grids flicker and fail. Weapon systems shut down mid-firing sequence. Crixel generals, long accustomed to war, find themselves helpless against a force that does not tire, does not fear, and does not falter. Their defenses do not fall with screams of defiance. They fall in silence, as if the planet itself has accepted its fate. Across every surviving Crixel monitor, a transmission begins to play. It is not a demand, not a plea, just a statement, delivered in a voice that carries the weight of 1,000 lost souls. You wanted to see humanity's strength? The voice of Captain Elias Voss is calm, emotionless. Watch closely. The Galactic Council watches from their high chambers, powerless to intervene. Some lean forward in shock, others in dread. The Crixel population, once so sure of their dominance, now huddle in silence as the skies burn. It is not just a show of strength, it is a warning. Deep within their fortified strongholds, the Crixel warlords issue desperate orders. Evacuate key officials, rally the remaining fleet, plead for mercy. But mercy is a luxury that was burned away with New Haven. The UF executes its final command. Stealth bombers, guided by Revenant AI, slip past the last layers of planetary defense. Coordinated orbital strikes target the warlords' command centers. One by one, the ruling elite of the Crixel Empire cease to exist, not in glorious battle, but in sudden, ruthless efficiency. Their reign ends not with the defiance of warriors, but with the silence of ghosts. Without leadership, the Crixel forces fragment. Those who remain surrender or flee into the void, forever haunted by the mistake of underestimating humanity. On the surface of Crixel Prime, weapons clatter to the ground. Soldiers kneel in surrender, their faces etched with disbelief. For the first time in their history, they are no longer conquerors. They are the conquered. Voss stands on the bridge of the Nemesis, looking down at the broken world below. The mission is complete. Vengeance has been delivered. But as he stares into the abyss of Crixel's shattered cities, a question lingers in the back of his mind. Was this justice? No one dares to answer. The galaxy will never again underestimate humanity. That much is certain. But as the fleet turns back toward Earth, there is no celebration, no cheers of victory, only silence and the weight of what has been done. The Galactic Council convened in emergency session, their voices a cacophony of panic and outrage. The broadcast of humanity's ruthless efficiency in dismantling the Crixel regime had reached every corner of known space. The message was clear. Earth was no longer a minor player in galactic affairs. The Council's ultimatum came swiftly. Humanity must cease its hostilities immediately, withdraw from Crixel space, and submit to diplomatic arbitration. Their words carried the countless civilizations, but to Earth, they rang hollow. In the UEF Command Center, Captain Elias Voss listened to the demands with a stoic expression. The Council had watched in silence while New Haven burned, while innocent lives were lost to Crixel aggression. Now, when humanity had seized victory, they sought restraint. They didn't stop the Crixel from slaughtering our people, Voss said coldly. Why should we listen to them now? Political leaders across Earth debated the risk of galactic isolation, but the decision had already been made. The UEF fleet remained in position, its guns still trained on Crixel Prime. Earth would not retreat. Not now. Not ever. The Crixel, once the scourge of the outer colonies, now stood broken and humbled. Their warlords were dead, their military in ruins. The The surviving leadership, trembling before humanity's wrath, awaited their fate. Earth did not grant them mercy. A formal declaration was transmitted across all channels. The Crixel Empire would be dismantled. Their economy would be placed under human control. Heavy reparations would be extracted to compensate for the destruction of New Haven and the countless lives lost. Most damning of all, the Crixel would never again wield power unchecked. A permanent UEF military occupation would ensure their compliance. Some in the Galactic Council protested, claiming the terms were too severe. But Earth remained unmoved. Dr. Mira Antonov, the lone voice of caution within the UEF, watched as the once mighty Crixel bent the knee. "This isn't justice," she murmured. "This is domination." Yet, no one was listening. The war was over. Humanity had won. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. Species that had once dismissed humanity as insignificant now whispered their name in fear. Governments scrambled to reevaluate their treaties. Leaders debated whether to extend hands in friendship or fortify their defenses. For centuries, the galactic order had been stable. Now, Earth had shattered that illusion. Fleet movements increased. Old alliances fractured. Some sought to appease the humans, offering trade deals and diplomatic partnerships. Others braced for the possibility that they could be next. The UEF, once focused solely on defending Earth and its colonies, now found itself in a position of unprecedented power. Some within the military command saw an opportunity. Why stop with Crixel? Humanity had proven its superiority. Perhaps it was time to ensure that no species would ever dare challenge them again. Voss stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching as new orders filtered through. More fleets were being mobilized. More worlds brought under Earth's watchful eye. "This is just the beginning," he muttered. Dr. Mira Antonov stood in silence, staring at the galactic map projected before her. Human-controlled territories were expanding, Crixel space reduced to a mere shadow of its former glory. The galaxy had changed forever. But as others celebrated, she felt a deep unease. She had studied countless civilizations, analyzed the rise and fall of empires. History had a pattern. Conquerors never stopped at one victory. Power demanded more power, and humanity had just taken its first step into a far darker future. She turned to the council, her voice firm but laced with dread. "We came here seeking justice, but we've become something else. Today, the galaxy fears us. Tomorrow, they will hate us. And one day, they will unite against us." Her words were met with silence. Outside, the fleets moved. The war was over, but the conflict was just beginning. And Antonov knew the truth. The greatest threat to humanity's future was no longer the Crixel or the Galactic Council. It was humanity itself. The transmission flickered to life across the galactic network, a sight no species had ever imagined possible. The Crixel High Chancellor stood before the shattered remnants of his war council, his mandibles clicking with forced humility. The once mighty Crixel Empire, feared across the stars, was now a shadow of its former self. "To the United Earth Federation and to all sentient life who witnessed our folly," the Chancellor began, his voice strained with barely concealed bitterness. "We were wrong. We underestimated humanity. We misjudged their strength, their resolve, their sheer tenacity. Every screen, every hollow terminal across the galactic community broadcasted their shame. There were no excuses, no attempts to save face. The Crixel had lost, and they knew it. We vow never to challenge Earth again." The Chancellor continued, "We accept our fate, our subjugation, and we offer this warning to any who would think themselves above humanity. Do not make our mistake." The message spread like wildfire, a cautionary tale etched into history. The stars had learned their lesson. Humanity was not to be trifled with. Beneath the surface of Luna, where Earth's most classified operations took place, the true consequences of the war were being analyzed. Generals and strategists gathered in dimly lit war rooms, poring over holographic projections of the galaxy. "They fear us now," Admiral Liao stated, tapping a set of coordinates. "But fear breeds desperation." "They won't challenge us today," General Morgan agreed, leaning forward. "But tomorrow? A decade from now? Someone, somewhere will try." The data was undeniable. Intercepted transmissions, quiet diplomatic alliances, shifting trade agreements. The other galactic powers were reacting. Humanity had stepped into the light, but in doing so, they had cast a long shadow. "Begin silent mobilization," Morgan ordered. We fortify, we advance, and we prepare for the inevitable. Humanity had proven itself in battle. Now it had to prepare for the next war. Captain Voss stood alone on the bridge of the UF Indomitable. His gaze locked onto the smoldering remains of Crixil Prime. Fires still raged across the surface, entire cities reduced to ashes. Even now, the distant wails of the defeated carried through intercepted transmissions. Yet, there was no satisfaction in victory, no joy, only silence. Commander Ellison approached carefully. "Sir, the Council requests your report." Voss didn't turn. He simply watched, his expression unreadable. "They should have left us alone." The words were soft, almost lost in the hum of the ship's engines. But their weight would echo across the annals of history. The Crixil had learned. The galaxy had learned. And if they ever forgot, humanity would be there to remind them.